Hello and welcome, Wellness TV members. My name is Anthony DiMarino. I'm a registered dietitian and personal trainer, and I work to help engage, educate, and empower my clients in making quality decisions over time, resulting in improved health outcomes. Today, I want to talk about a topic that's going to be very relevant to many of you, and that is men's health, and how men's health can almost be seen as a paradox. And we're going to discuss many behaviors, activities you can do in order to improve your health and optimize your wellness. So let me switch over to PowerPoint and we'll get started. As mentioned before, I did title this presentation The Men's Health Paradox. And the reason being is that men actually live shorter than women do. And we'll talk about the reasons behind that and what you can do to change that for yourself. Some quick quotes that may be fun, but also tongue-in-cheek. Here's all you have to know about men and women. Women are crazy, men are stupid. And the main reason women are crazy is that men are stupid. Behind every great man is a woman rolling her eyes. And being a woman is a terribly difficult task, since it consists principally in dealing with men. Now, as you can see, these are a little tongue-in-cheek, but they do have a slight thread of truth to them. Sometimes men, we may not make the best decisions. Our behaviors don't match what's best for us. And we may oftentimes reap the punishment or the unbenefit of those behaviors. So just to give you some quick background here, there's actually, throughout time, there's been noticed an age gap between men and women. If you can see, we're looking at life expectancy in the US. In 1900, the life expectancy was very small. Females lived to be less than 50 years old and men a little over than 45 years old. You can see this age gap is pretty tight of 2 years. Over time, what has happened is that our life expectancy has grown, where women are living over 80 years apiece, but men, our growth in our life expectancy has slowed down, where men are usually living about 76 years. As you can see, this age gap has gotten up to 5 years. Over time, we may see that this age gap gets larger over the years as well. Now let's talk about some different numbers that you might be shocking, might be surprising. Men are 5 times more likely of suffering from an aortic aneurysm, 4 times as likely to be hit by gout, 3 times as likely to develop kidney stones, to become alcoholics, or to have bladder cancer, and twice as likely to develop emphysema or duodenal ulcers. As you can see, the odds are against us, gentlemen, and we really need to pay attention to the factors that can influence our health and wellness. Let's talk about these. There's 3 main factors that can really impact what our health and wellness looks like: biological, social, and behavioral. And we're going to take apart each of these. Now, biological is one area that we can't really change. This is something we inherit, but if we make sure we're doing all the right things, it could be expressed in different ways. Men have a different set of genes and chromosomes versus women. Men come along with a set of X and Y chromosomes, where women have a set of XX chromosomes. And the only difference here is that the Y chromosome is smaller, and there's a higher degree of chances for it to be defective. And for women, because there's 2 X chromosomes, if there's a defection, the other chromosome can actually counteract that. Men don't have that kind of protection. For men and women, there is the different hormones that express themselves and will influence what our lives are like, right? What our bodies are like. So the male hormone is testosterone. The female hormone is estrogen. For males, testosterone tends to drive certain behaviors, and these could put us at risk. And when it comes to metabolism, men tend to carry their weight in their stomachs, in their midsection more so, and it can put them at more chronic and metabolic diseases. So these are some things that we should know about. We can't necessarily change it directly, but there are some activities we can do to really help limit any of these impacts. Let's talk about some social areas that put men at risk. Men are expected to be the breadwinners of families. We're usually seen as the workers where we have a full-time job. And throughout this, we're expected to progress to succeed, right? And corporate America has added a lot of stress to our lives. We're asked to work longer hours. We're asked to take on more stress, and that can really put a detriment to our health and wellness. One of the things men aren't good at compared to women are making friends. We're not the best at expressing our feelings. We're not the best of really identifying what we're feeling and expressing that to other men. And unfortunately, without that social support, we're unable to take care of our stressors, and it does put a damper on our health and wellness over time. Let's talk about behaviors. Men are more likely to act out in risky behavior, but also aggression and violence. Now, these may seem similar, but there is a definite difference between these two. Risky behavior is when men put themselves at risk, right? They're gambling, maybe using firearms, maybe drinking or smoking more often. These behaviors put men's health at risk. Aggression and violence is outwardly expressed onto other people. And because of that testosterone, maybe the stress, maybe we're not able to communicate our thoughts and our feelings as well as women. That's how these express themselves more often than not. Other things that men may do less well than women are some of these behaviors here. Smoking, right? This is something that is a habitual. It usually tends to be about stress and anxiety. Men tend to smoke quite a bit. Alcohol, if we tend to drink more alcohol than normal, it puts our health at risk. If we're not eating well, if we're going for fast food or doing red meat or fried foods, that can tend to put our health and wellness at risk as well. Maybe you or someone you know is exercising as well. Exercise is such a great health benefit, and there's so many things we get out of it. But if we're not paying attention or we're not committing to it, we're not doing as much exercise, it can really put an impact on our health and wellness. And lastly, men are less likely to seek medical care. Maybe we're not going to see the doctor as often. Maybe we're not doing any preventative medicine or taking our medications as prescribed. So what's a guy can do? There are plenty of things that men can do in order to help improve their chances of living longer, of having a vitality, long-lived life. Making sure that you do avoid tobacco regularly. If you smoke, quit smoking. If you don't smoke, avoid smoking. Making sure that you stay at a healthy weight. There's so many different things that weight impacts, and staying lean is the number one thing you do to help limit or prevent any of those chronic diseases. Another thing you can do is really trying to limit alcohol. There's so many health benefits to being smart about alcohol. If you're going to drink, try and limit it to only a few drinks at a time, and obviously don't overdrink. Reduce your exposure to any of these different environmental factors. So getting out of anything that has any chemicals or secondhand smoke, anything that can really impact your health and wellness too. And lastly, making sure you're going to see your doctor regularly, preventative medicine, doing your annual physical, getting checked out, doing those preventative measures that men are recommended by their physician as well. Other things you can do is making sure that you reduce your stress. Do things that make you happy. Make sure you have hobbies outside of work. Spend time with friends and family. Really trying to cope with and manage that stress as opposed to letting it bottle in. Next is making sure that you go out and seek and share joy. We want to make sure that we stay happy and well and have a positive outlook on our lives. And the best way to do that is exercise, do things that make you feel happy, surround yourself with the right kind of people. Lastly, making sure that you avoid those risky behaviors we talked about. Really trying to limit any kind of vices, gambling, firearms, sex, drugs, stuff like that. Making sure that you are having those behaviors and actions that really improve your health as opposed to put you at risk. Let's talk about some factors that would be very, very impactful over time for your health and wellness. And number one is eating well. Okay. Let's talk about what you can do to eat more of. Whole grains, these are carbohydrates. Those come from breads, rices, pastas. These give us good quality energy, making sure they are the whole grain. So the bread, the brown rice, brown bread, brown pasta, making sure they're less processed. The more fresh fruits and vegetables you can do, there's going to help keep you at a healthy weight, help you stay regular, help you reduce risk of disease, making sure you have plenty of plant-based foods in your diet. When you're choosing your protein, making sure that you're choosing low-fat options. That's baked and grilled chicken, fish, eggs, low-fat dairies, making sure that if you're going to do beef and pork, that they're low-fat cuts, making sure that you're not doing any kind of processed or fried meats. Choosing nuts and seeds, these tend to have those healthy, heart protective oils to them. So making sure that you have nuts and seeds in your diet is a good idea. Lastly, whatever we're drinking, trying to choose water most of the time. That tends to have low calorie. It flushes out our system, keeps us clean, and a lot of health benefits with drinking plenty of water. Now let's talk about what we need to eat less of. These are the foods that tend to put us at our health at risk and may make our life shorter in the long term. First off is red meat. There's plenty of research and studies out there that suggest red meat in abundance could really put our body at risk. Now, if you want red meat every once in a while, perfectly fine. Just don't make it the focus of your protein choices. Next are fried foods. We know that fried foods are more processed. They tend to have more calories and fat to them. And they really do tend to show putting us at risk for disease later on. High fat products, butters, lard, again, fried foods, processed meats, choosing those low fat options can be very important. If you're gonna have a snack between meals, trying to choose foods that are less processed, because these processed snacks tend to be salty, fatty, high in sugar. And they do tend to put our body at risk over time. Lastly, we want to try and reduce the amount of sugars and sodas we're having. So trying to use your common sense, eat sugars and sodas in moderation, cut it out as much as you can. I know they taste great. I know that they bring us some happiness. There's a psychological piece to health and nutrition. But the more that you can reduce your choices of sugars and sodas, it's going to do you a lot of good over time. Next, let's talk about staying active. This is something that's going to be very important for not only your mental health, your stress, how you're feeling throughout the day, but also your long-term health as well. Really trying to incorporate moving your body most days out of the week, doing walks, parking farther and away from your desk or your office, taking the stairs, going to the gym, doing runs, whatever you can do to move more is important. Definitely adding in some strength training, doing some weightlifting, dumbbells, barbells, those different machines. That's going to help keep muscle, maintain and build muscle to help you have strong muscle and bones throughout as you age. Next is making sure that you focus on some flexibility and balance, stretching, using bands, making sure that you stay flexible and focus on some of those calisthenics as well. Lastly, just some parting words here. We definitely need to follow what the females do here, okay? Focus on our friends and family, lean on our social support, okay? Making sure that we don't work our lives away and take care of our families, but really put our focus on eating well, taking care of ourselves. Self-care is very important. Learn something or two from your partner or just from the opposite sex. Some parting words here very quickly. Overall, men are at higher risk for disease and actually have a shorter lifespan. And there's some factors we can change, but there's some we could really focus on and really make some impactful choices over time. And as I discussed, I gave you some ideas for choosing high quality habits, eating well, staying active, reducing your vices or those risky behaviors, taking care of your stress. Those are all very important. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me today. Please take a look at my other videos. I love making these. I love educating and sharing these all ideas with you. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.